This one's wife. Why is she so greedy? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife has expensive tastes. She came from relatively humble beginnings. Certainly her father earned very good money, and this meant that contrary to her explaining that she ate $5 Sizzler salads or whatever it was, that she had access to a decent education that was paid for by her father, that she lived in a decent enough house, that she wasn't starving, etc. But notwithstanding that solid start to life, she certainly didn't have access to the things that mattered to her as a somatic narcissist. Since she met Prince Harry and ensnared him, this has allowed her access to infamy, wealth, privilege, networks, much of which she has sought to leverage and monetize. Why? Why is she so greedy for the greenbacks? Why is she hungry for those Benjamins? Why is it that she wants to travel in the private jets, that she wants to sport expensive jewellery, wear expensive clothing and show it off? Why is it that she always has to stay in expensive hotels? Why is it that she has to live in a house that has got 47,000 bathrooms, when maybe 3 or 4 would be sufficient? What is it that's behind her greed? Well, you'll be unsurprised to learn that naturally it's her narcissism. But I'm going to explain to you what it is specifically about her narcissism that drives her to be greedy in this way, in a way that you might not have anticipated. As you know, the narcissist must travel to destination prime aims, control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. The type of narcissist that exists is divided into school and cadre. The school governs the way that the narcissist will behave, and understanding the school of narcissists is tremendously important to enable you to recognize what you're dealing with. This is why my narc detector is so popular, as it brings knowledge to people in a clear way as to what they're dealing with and the reasons why. If you suspect you're dealing with a narcissist and would like to find out what they are, utilize it. It's in the video description and can be found in the detector section at narcsite.com. Alongside the school are the cadres. This one's wife is a somatic narcissist, which means that she has a certain set of preferences, a preference whereby physical appearance is important to her, both hers and that of others, that she is hypersexualized, engaging in the provision of lots of spicy poontang, that she has expensive tastes, that she wants to be seen in notable places, that she wants to be amongst the beautiful people, that she wants to be seen at glamorous events. Not every somatic narcissist would necessarily tick all of those boxes and others which point to their somaticism. But for this one's wife, her greed is as a consequence of her somaticism, because she has a preference for expensive clothing, jewellery, travel, house, and such like. Because she's somatic, because those appearances, those material matters are of importance to her. The cerebral narcissist is more concerned with showing off their intellectual power, their brain power, their knowledge, their cerebral ability. But when it comes to a somatic narcissist such as this one's wife, it drives her to want to have lots of the best stuff. Why? Because it reverts back to the central issue of what her narcissism is all about: control. You see, if she has lots of money, that means that she is then able to pay people to do the mundane tasks in life. That accords with her grandiosity, but also frees up more time for her to be able to pursue fuel and the control of people that she deems to matter. By not having to make meals, even though she claims to do so, when in fact all she actually does is unpackage takeout, by not having to do the laundry or do the cleaning or do the gardening and such like, this gives her a greater level of control over aspects of her life which are more meaningful to her vis-à-vis the prime aims. By having money, she can afford the PR puff pieces, which enables her to assert control by trying to generate an image of her being a wonderful person, and also to utilise that for the purposes of a nullification of a threat to control. Accordingly, money allows her to assert control through those PR puff pieces. It allows her to afford or to get other people to pay for security. This is because she believes that she's superior. Her paranoia causes her to believe that she's repeatedly under threat, and naturally, by turning up in a 4 blacked-out windowed SUV cavalcade, heads will turn, or at least she anticipates that they will, which means that more people are brought under control and she receives more fuel. By wearing expensive clothing, she can triangulate people with it, through their envy or their admiration. By living in a large house, she can triangulate people with it, so that they react to her to demonstrate that they're under control and to provide her with fuel. By wearing expensive jewellery, she can again triangulate people with that jewellery so that they react, providing her with fuel and demonstrating that they are under control. Having greed for money, jewellery, clothing, holidays, security, whatever it might be, evidently not food, evidently not brain cells, but plenty of other matters, enables this one's wife to use those material aspects to control people more readily and to gain fuel. It's also the case that money is used to reinforce in her own mind her superiority. Remember, as a consequence of her narcissism, she believes that she's special, unique, that she should be treated in a different manner to all of the pros and the peons, because she is special. And by the accumulation of that wealth, by getting the freebies, by causing people to invite her to swanky gigs and places, that reinforces in her mind that she's more important than you and you and you, that she's got the things that you want, that she's elevated not with mint but through money, because then that reinforces the image that she has of herself as being a superior individual, and therefore her narcissism drives her to behave in a greedy fashion so that it basically affirms what she believes herself to be. Of course, much of this is achieved off the back of grifting, and therefore it isn't an honest achievement on her part. In effect, she grifted Harry, which allowed her access to wealth, privilege, access to networks, and infamy. She has then monetized that with the shitty deals that she landed with people, getting paid for not delivering very much, which again demonstrates that her belief that she's brilliant has no commensurate evidence to support it. Greed is driven by her somaticism. Greed is driven by the somatic aspect of her narcissism to compel her to get hold of it, because then it assists with the achievement of control and the drawing of fuel. Furthermore, it reinforces in her mind that she is truly a special and unique individual. It is the evidence that she seeks to confirm what she is, even though we all know and recognise that actually she's pretty useless. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.